A fresh morning is perfect for the whole family to do some light exercise. Warming up prepares the body for the activities that follow. Everyone has their own way of exercising, but they're all lovely. Gentle exercise makes the body feel more relaxed.
Oh!
No need to compare because everyone has their own pace. Breathing evenly helps to improve mood. Simple exercise is enough to bring positive energy. Drinking water after exercise is a very important habit. Moments of rest help the body recover better. Starting the day with light exercise helps the whole family stay healthy and happy. The garden had so many plants that Bluey easily got confused while tending them. Bluey decided to draw a map of the garden. The map was checked right in the garden.
Huh?
Bingo and Bluey learned how to read the garden map.
Huh?
The map helped Bluey tend to each plant more accurately. The whole family used the map to tend the garden. The garden was properly cared for. Thanks to the garden map, tending the plants became easier and more fun. Counting the stairs. Bluey and Bingo stand ready for a simple challenge, climbing the staircase. Bluey starts her climb, and Bandit begins to clap rhythmically, each clap matching a step. Bingo is slightly confused at first, but she quickly finds the rhythm, trying to sync her tiny steps with the claps. The two girls are halfway up. Bandit claps louder and clearer, helping them maintain the count. Bluey glances back to check her dad's rhythm. Bingo misses a step and pauses. She concentrates hard, then steps forward, determined to catch the rhythm of her dad's counting. Finally, Bluey steps onto the last stair, and Bingo follows closely behind.
The Lost Paper Airplane. One beautiful morning, Bluey and Bingo decided to create some amazing airplanes. Bluey loves speed while Bingo prefers smooth flights. Everything is ready to go.
Let's go!
Whoosh! Bluey's plane flew higher than expected, but it seems it chose a rather difficult landing spot.
Oh.
Oh no, it's stuck. How do we get the green pilot down here? The power of sisterhood has been activated, but this tree still seems to be growing very tall. Perfect throw! Bingo is truly a brilliant strategist. Sometimes the rescue mission itself is more rewarding than watching it fly. Finally, the flight crew was reunited. The backyard sky was once again filled with laughter. Character selection screen. Welcome, players. Please choose your warrior companion for this adventure. You would choose agility, playfulness, and boundless energy. Or maturity, composure, and shrewdness? The decision is yours. Jungle mode is activated. Jungle mode is activated for adventurers. A great choice for adventurers. Or reach for the stars in space mode. Any shop is ready.
Whoa!
What are the players doing? Please don't spam the selection button. The system is overloaded. Warning, interface error. Interface error. Characters are experiencing localized dizziness. Forget it, just choose both. Press start to begin the game.
A peaceful afternoon is perfect for a light, active game. Playing ball gently provides exercise while remaining safe. Sometimes, adjusting the force is necessary for a smooth game. Knowing when to stop helps avoid unwanted situations.
Oh,
Playing slowly allows for better control during each turn.
Okay.
Coordination makes the game more enjoyable. You don't need to play hard to have fun. Knowing when to stop helps avoid unwanted situations. Taking breaks at the right time keeps the body comfortable. Woo-hoo-hoo! Playing sports is more meaningful when you know how to control and care for each other. Covering the roof to avoid the rain afternoon. Mom looks up at the sky, raises her hand to feel the wind. A raindrop lands on her hand. Mom turns toward the yard, signaling urgently. Dad runs to the shed, pulling out a large tarp. The wind grows stronger. Leaves rustle loudly. Dad spreads the tarp over the items in the yard. Flap! A strong gust lifts the tarp up. Dad holds one corner of the tarp. Mom grips the other corner. Sister jumps onto a chair, pulling the tarp edge down. Little brother presses hard on the lowest corner. The tarp billows like a sail. Everyone sways, but keeps holding on. Rain starts pouring down. Water slides off the tarp, streaming down in lines. Items are dry. Plant pots are safe. Chairs are fully covered. Everyone sighs in relief.
Oh.
And there was a small undecorated corner in the garden. Bluey came up with the idea to decorate it. The first stones were laid down. Bluey found more decorative materials. A gravel path gradually appeared. Bingo helped choose beautiful pebbles. The garden corner began to look neater. Bluey carefully arranged each detail. A small detail made the garden corner stand out. Bluey's efforts were noticed by everyone. A small decorated corner was enough to make the garden more lovely.
Aha!
Bluey begins her treasure hunt in the garden. An X on the map points to a very familiar corner. Bluey digs down excitedly. Something is lying beneath the soil. The first treasure is revealed. Bluey recognizes it as an old toy. Bluey decides to dig a little further. Another old toy appears. Bingo is also curious about this unexpected treasure. This time, it seems to be a real box. The treasure turns out to be old toys that have been buried and forgotten. Old things can also bring new joy. Water volleyball. A scorching noon. The whole family fans themselves, sweat beading on their faces. Little brother spots a basin of water in the corner of the yard, his eyes lighting up. Dad brings out a volleyball. Mom places two basins of water facing each other. Sister signals to divide teams, standing on opposite sides. Everyone looks at one another and nods in agreement. Dad gently tosses the ball. Sister makes a clean return. Splash! The ball drops into a basin. Water explodes everywhere. Mom can't dodge in time. Part of her shirt gets soaked. Little brother jumps up to spike the ball. His hand slips. The ball flies off course. Splash! The ball lands right in Dad's basin. Dad is drenched from head to toe. The family stands in the middle of the yard, then burst into unstoppable laughter. Mornings at the beach are always full of energy. Bluey begins exploring the beach in her own way. The sea always knows how to tease. Every corner of the sand can become a playground. Bluey finds small but interesting things.
Huh? Hey! Oh!
The joy at the beach is always contagious.
Hey!
After playing, everyone needs a little rest. The beach is a giant canvas. The sea always changes things in a fun way.
Oh!
A simple day at the beach is enough to bring complete happiness. The balancing act. Bluey spots a bird perched on the fence and decides to challenge herself with a little balancing game. She slowly lifts one leg, arms out wide, trying to keep her body as still as a statue. But balancing is harder than it looks. Bluey begins to wobble and her little legs start to shake. Dad Bandit notices and steps right beside her. He circles his hands around her, creating a silent safety zone. Seeing her dad's hands nearby, Bluey feels a surge of confidence. She takes a deep breath and regains her focus. Thanks to the silent support, Bluey holds her balance longer than before. She feels strong and very capable. The secret seed. Mom, Bluey, and Bingo stroll together. The kids run ahead while Mom walks behind, smiling. Bingo suddenly stops and looks down. She picks up a tiny seed from the ground. Bluey leans in, curious. Mom gestures for them to keep walking. Bingo looks at the seed, then quietly closes her paw around it. Back at home. Mom turns away to get some water. Bingo looks left, right, sneaks to a flower pot, garden corner, digs a small hole, hides the seed, quickly covers it with soil. Bluey stands nearby, acting like a serious lookout. One day, Mom tidies the garden. Bingo rushes over. Too late. Mom bends down and sees a small flower blooming. Her eyes widen in surprise. Bingo stands behind her, smiling shyly. Mom turns around and gently pats Bingo's head. Bluey claps happily. The three sit together, watching the flower sway in the breeze. The whole family was having a fun time preparing an outdoor meal. But then the wind started blowing gently. The wind suddenly messed everything up. The whole family had to react quickly. The scarf seemed to be playing tricks on everyone.
Uh-oh.
Sometimes the simplest way is the most effective. Finally, the meal was ready. A little trouble made the meal even more memorable.
Yippee!
On a cool afternoon, water can also bring joy. Water balloons look so special. No need to throw, just observe. Even a small movement creates excitement. Surprises come so gently. Playing safely is also important. Joy doesn't need to be loud. A little game for a cool afternoon.
The experiment slide. Bluey and Bingo are setting up a small laboratory. They use a chair and a plank to create a simple, steep slide. Bluey retrieves her first test subject, a round rubber ball. She places it at the top of the plank and lets it go. The ball flies quickly down the ramp and bounces across the floor. Bingo giggles and tries to catch it, amused by the speed. Bluey places the block on the ramp and releases it. The block slides slowly, coming to a gentle stop at the bottom with a quiet thud. The two girls look at each other. Bluey gives a serious nod, as if she understands the lesson about friction. Bingo smiles, satisfied with the results of their experiment.
That old wall has been there for a long time. It's time to refresh the house.
Aha!
Starts aren't always perfect. Just slow down a little. The difference starts to show. Just one color of paint is enough to change the whole room. The house suddenly feels fresher. Great joy comes from small changes. Bingo has a stomachache. Bandit decided to spend the morning tending to his garden. But as Bandit got busy working, little mischiefs began to appear. Just a slight lapse in concentration, and the whole garden was thrown into chaos. Bandit began to realize that babysitting and gardening at the same time wasn't simple at all.
Aha!
Sometimes, even the most endearing acts of help can lead to a little accident. Hey! But in the end, the most important thing is the laughter and the moments spent with family. The balancing act. Bluey spots a bird perched on the fence and decides to challenge herself with a little balancing game. She slowly lifts one leg, arms out wide, trying to keep her body as still as a statue. But balancing is harder than it looks. Bluey begins to wobble and her little legs start to shake. Dad Bandit notices and steps right beside her. He circles his hands around her, creating a silent safety zone. Seeing her dad's hands nearby, Bluey feels a surge of confidence. She takes a deep breath and regains her focus. Thanks to the silent support, Bluey holds her balance longer than before. She feels strong and very capable. An ordinary morning begins with a special journey.
Hey! Hey!
For Bluey, every ride is an exploration. And then, the ride arrives. A little attention makes the journey safer. When everyone follows the rules, the journey becomes more pleasant. A familiar city suddenly feels new. Every journey requires order and safety. Upon arrival, everyone continues their own journey.
Bye-bye.
A short journey, but full of experiences. When rules are followed, every journey becomes safe and memorable. Bluey and Bingo found the treasure. Just turn away for a moment. The treasure moved. The treasure seemed to be teasing them. Every time they didn't look, the treasure moved. They decided to observe carefully. The treasure finally stayed still. One fine day, the family decided to wash their beloved car. When you're too excited, things can easily become excessive. Doing things the right way makes the job easier. Saving money is part of caring for the environment. Safety is always paramount. It's okay to make a small mistake, as long as you know how to correct it. Being tidy helps things finish faster. When working together, the joy always outweighs the fatigue. At noon, the sun blazed down on the garden. The sapling stood still in the hot sun. Bluey realized the sapling needed shade. Bluey quickly set about helping it. Bluey prepared the shade. Shading the tree wasn't as easy as it seemed. Bingo came to help hold the shade in place.
Whoa!
The shade gradually became more stable. The sapling was now protected from the harsh sunlight. Bluey's method was very effective. Bluey checked again to make sure it was secure. At noon, the sun blazed down on the garden. Fixing the bike in the yard afternoon. A bicycle is leaning against the wall. The back tire is flat, completely deflated. Dad bends down and squeezes the tire. He shakes his head and sighs. Dad grabs a hand pump and attaches it to the valve. Mom stands beside him, holding the bike frame firmly. Sister runs into the house. She brings out a wrench and a cleaning rag. Little brother bustles around, hands over the wrong tool, then quickly switches. The wheel spins hard. The bike suddenly tilts. Mom almost slips. Dad quickly grabs the bike. Whoosh! The wheel pops off the axle and rolls fast across the yard. Little brother runs after it. Sister runs too. The whole yard erupts in chaos. Dad puts the wheel back on. Dad pumps a few more times. Dad spins the wheel to test it. Mom pushes the bike to the center of the yard. Sister hops on and rides a lap. The bike rolls perfectly. Little brother claps and cheers. Mom and Dad laugh together. Where's the car? The family gets into their car. Doors close. Seatbelts click. Everyone looks ready and excited. Inside the supermarket, quick montage. An empty cart rolls in. Items pile up fast. The cart is now overflowing. At the register, the receipt prints and prints and prints. Dad stares at it nervously. Mom nods calmly. Outside the store, the family pushes the heavy cart forward. Dad strains. Mom helps steer. The kids push proudly. They move far, very far, like they're walking home. They stop. Dad looks around. No car. Dad pulls out the car keys. Mom slowly turns and looks back toward the store. The family car sits alone in the parking lot. Back to the family, standing far away. Dad scratches his head, embarrassed. Mom crosses her arms, amused. The kids giggle. Bluey and Bingo are having a lot of fun skateboarding on the rink. The panda notices the skateboard rolling back and forth. The panda decides to try skateboarding for the first time. The panda stands very carefully on the small board. The board starts to move, making the panda wobble a little. A short slide is enough to make the panda very excited. Things quickly become very funny. The new way of skateboarding makes the whole rink more lively. All three skateboard in their own way. A simple game is enough to create a very fun moment. 5 minutes at the beach, sunny beach. The family arrives with arms full of gear. Tent, mat, beach bag. The kid bounces with excitement. Dad carefully sets up the beach tent. Mom spreads out the mat and arranges items neatly. The kid stares at the ocean, eyes sparkling. The moment Mom and Dad turn away, the kid runs straight into the water. A strong gust of wind blows. The tent flips and flies. The mat slides across the sand. Dad chases the flying tent. Mom grabs the mat. They exchange panicked looks. Cut back to the kid, still playing joyfully in the waves, waving happily at Mom and Dad. Mom and Dad look toward the water, worried but amused. The kid runs up from the water and hugs them.
Shooting star. The night has fallen. Bluey and Bandit settle down for a quiet evening on the veranda after a long day of play. Bluey gazes up at the twinkling stars and suddenly, she points an excited finger towards the sky. A brilliant, swift streak of light, a shooting star, flies across the dark night sky. Both dad and daughter watch it pass. Bluey turns to look at her dad, her eyes wide with surprise and a little bit of wonder. Bandit gently pulls Bluey into a warm hug. Bluey closes her eyes, keeping her silent wish completely private. She opens them, giving a look of pure contentment. Bandit tightens his hug, savoring the special moment.
A familiar morning, when the wardrobe is overflowing.
Huh?
Clothes can also become a game.
Whoa!
A little confusion adds to the fun. But to be tidy requires organization. When you know how to categorize, everything becomes easier to find.
Huh?
Every small task requires patience. When you cooperate, even difficult tasks become easy. Tidy brings a pleasant feeling. A well-organized wardrobe helps each day start better. Wow! When you know how to maintain it, your home is always the most pleasant place. That old wall has been there for a long time. It's time to refresh the house. Starts aren't always perfect. Just slow down a little. The difference starts to show. Just one color of paint is enough to change the whole room. The house suddenly feels fresher. Great joy comes from small changes. Faces of emotion. Chili sits on the floor with Bluey and Bingo, holding a small, magical hand mirror. Chili looks into the mirror and then makes a very sad face, with her ears drooping slightly. Bluey and Bingo observe closely, and then they both imitate that sad expression in the most adorable way. Suddenly, Chili changes. She flashes a big, bright smile at her daughters. Immediately, the sisters grin back, mimicking their mom's spreading happiness. Chili looks into the mirror and then makes a very sad face, with her ears drooping slightly. Everyone bursts out laughing happily and shares a big, warm hug on the rug. What a fun lesson about feelings! The rattling fan, a hot noon. An old fan spins slowly. Clack, clack! An irritating noise. The whole family looks at the fan. Frowning, they fan themselves with their hands. Dad places it in the middle of the floor. He grabs a screwdriver and carefully removes the screws. Mom hands over a small box to hold the screws. She nods, reminding him with a look. Sister holds the fan frame steady. Little brother sits close by, eyes wide as he watches. Ting! A screw pops out and rolls across the floor. Little brother crawls after it. He even crawls under the table. Sister puts the fan blades back on, slightly crooked, but tightened anyway. Dad nods and flips the switch. Whoosh! The fan spins the wrong way. Dad tightens the screws firmly. Dad switches the fan on again. Boo! The fan runs smoothly, a gentle breeze blowing. The whole family claps. One quiet afternoon, Chili decided to make a small meal. Bluey and Bingo wanted to join in. Ha! Aha! Even small tasks require care. Everyone pitched in, and the kitchen became lively. Cooking is also a time to learn about safety. No need to be fancy, just do it with all your heart. A meal tastes better when made together. A simple meal, but full of love. Saving a broken plant, a calm afternoon after the rain. The little brother runs around the garden, then suddenly stops. He points. A young plant has been bent and broken by the wind, its stem leaning close to the ground. The little brother bends down to look, his face turning sad. The sister steps closer, gently touches the stem, and shakes her head worriedly. Dad examines the break carefully and nods with a decision. Dad gently straightens the plant's stem. Mom holds the base, adds more soil, pressing it firmly around the roots. The sister places 2 wooden stakes on either side. The little brother passes the string, carefully tying it around the stem. The string is tightened just enough, not too tight. A light breeze. A gentle wind blows. The plant stands firm. Its leaves tremble softly, no longer leaning. The family applauds as if they've just saved someone. The home cook-off. Mom is calmly cooking. Bluey and Bingo watch closely, eyes sparkling. Dad peeks in wearing an apron, upside down. Dad claps his hands excitedly, points at the counter, gestures, competition. Bluey and Bingo cheer silently, fists in the air. 3 chefs rush to grab ingredients. Bluey grabs everything at once, drops half of it. Bingo carefully selects just a few items. Dad secretly adds something strange, a toy carrot. Mom watches, amused. Dad tastes his dish, winces, adds more of the wrong ingredient. Each dish is placed on the table. Bluey's dish is huge and messy. Bingo's dish is tiny but neat. Dad's dish, slightly smoking. Mom raises an eyebrow. Mom tastes. Bluey's, surprised but impressed. Bingo's, eyes widen with delight. Dad's, long pause, polite smile, quick sip of water. Bluey and Bingo giggle. Mom points to all 3 dishes, gives a thumbs up. The family sits together, sharing food. Dad secretly swaps his plate with Bluey's. After the first harvest, the whole family had a new idea. Vegetables from the little garden are ready to go into the kitchen. Preparing to cook is also a fun part. It doesn't need to be perfect, just try. Cooking always has unexpected moments. Homegrown vegetables have a very special taste. Meals taste better when they are made together. From the little garden to a happy meal. Where's the car. The family gets into their car. Doors close. Seatbelts click. Everyone looks ready and excited. Inside the supermarket, quick montage, an empty cart rolls in. Items pile up fast. The cart is now overflowing. At the register, the receipt prints and prints and prints. Dad stares at it nervously. Mom nods calmly. Outside the store, the family pushes the heavy cart forward. Dad strains. Mom helps steer. The kids push proudly. They move far, very far, like they're walking home. They stop. Dad looks around. No car. Dad pulls out the car keys. Mom slowly turns and looks back toward the store. The family car sits alone in the parking lot. Back to the family, standing far away. Dad scratches his head, embarrassed. Mom crosses her arms, amused. The kids giggle. Building a small fence. A cool morning. The whole family stands in front of an empty patch of yard. Dad pulls out a measuring tape to check the spacing. Mom marks the spots with white chalk. Sister and little brother line up the short wooden posts. Dad grabs a hammer and drives in the first post. Thud, thud. Firm and steady. Mom holds the post, checking the balance by eye. She nods to signal it's good. Sister passes over a wooden plank. Little brother runs back and forth, handing over nails. Thud! The post tilts slightly. Mom raises her hand to stop. The family steps back to look. Dad pulls the post out and adjusts it. Sister holds one end. Mom steadies it. Dad hammers again. Their rhythm becomes steady. The fence grows section by section. The fence is complete. Little brother taps a post lightly. Tap, tap. Mom, Dad, and sister smile with pride.